Okay, so I am a few days into the open beta now, and I think I've stumbled upon one of the best builds for Sienna. It's at level 25, so got my last talent. So let's see what it's about.
Raining cats and dogs.
Okay, so
Go along with rat men.
essentially you want to use the bolt staff. The bolt staff does the most DPS out of all the other stuff, but it also increases your overcharge the fastest. But that's not an issue because with this build, you get heat sink. So heat sink, every time you do a critical hit, it removes 4.0 overcharge. If you can consistently do critical hits, you will never exceed your overcharge limits. So combined with your talents, also increases overcharge decay and decrease overcharge generation. Along with heatsink, you'll be able to spam your left click. So obviously this works best on pyromancer because you get more critical crit chance based on overcharge level. So as your overcharge level gets higher, you'll get more crit chance, which makes it go lower, and then the cycle just fluctuates between lower overcharge and higher overcharge. And you'll be able to basically do a lot of damage. I think last game on champion mode I did a little bit over 8,000 damage. You can do well above that if your team is not doing what they're supposed to do. So aside from the staff, I'm using a dagger which has the parry ability. This is super useful if you're getting flanked or if you're getting charged by a Chaos Warrior or several Chaos Warriors. Chaos Warrior is by far the easiest enemy to block, to parry against, because they attack so slowly and the game gives you a really large window to time the parry correctly. And if you parry, then you don't lose any stamina on your block, which is really good because you can just kite them away. You can just run away and kite them around. Okay, and obviously the properties on these weapons, haven't really messed around with them, but because it is still beta, but I'm trying to still test things out. So for the properties, mainly what you want to focus on is just crit chance. Everything else is secondary, it's up to your personal preference, but crit chance is most important. So for the necklace, the charm, and the trinket, you can get whatever you want. I like to get health and more stamina. I like to get more power versus some of the harder units. And I like to get more crit chance, respawn speed, and more crit chance. So yeah, that's it for the gear. For the talents, you want to go like this. The first three are for controlling overcharge. This one is for survival. And then for the last one, I see a lot of people using exhaust, which removes overcharge. But in my experience with this build, you rarely get really high overcharge anyways, because if the enemies are all running at you, you can basically decrease your overcharge to basically 0. So I don't think this is very useful. This, on the other hand, is really useful, especially on champion mode. If there is a rattling gunner somewhere, you can basically snipe it from across the map. It's really good. I mean, it auto targets, so not really any aiming required. Okay, let's do a custom game so I can show the build in action. Okay, so I'm here on Festering Grounds on champion difficulty with 3 other bots. So probably won't get very far in this run, but it's more than enough to demonstrate the power of the build. So let us move along here. So I just dismantled Hack Rat. I'm gonna dismantle this gas rat as well. So see how my overcharge meter goes up then it goes down. You want it to be in like the orange to red zone because you get crit chance on that, you do more damage. But obviously you don't want it too high because then you risk going over. Just see how it goes up and then it goes down. Because see how fast I'm dismantling these enemies, even at this distance. As long as you're hitting enemies, as long as you're landing critical hits, you will decrease your overcharge really fast. The only time you will go over your overcharge limit is if you're just shooting like this, not really hitting any enemies. Then yeah, it'll just increase like normal, right? So you just want to be hitting enemies, and then if you're in trouble or if you're trying to save your teammate, just shoot out the path. I mean the career ability. The more enemies that runs at you, the better you'll be, which is usually ironic. But with this build, because you'll be doing so much deeps, you'll be like right now, because you'll be doing so much deep hits and you'll be decreasing your overcharge so fast, you will generally perform best when you're constantly fighting through lots of enemies. So just look at this here. Just look at my overcharge. It doesn't go up at all, and I'm just mowing down these crash mobs. So yeah, you rarely need to use your right click. Rarely. Against bosses, you just want to stay at a distance. This build's not too good versus bosses, but you know, you can still get damage done. So you're not really doing much to the boss because it'll just one-shot you as it gets closer. But with a well-coordinated team, it should be. So yeah, that's the build. Hope you enjoyed it.